Imagine knowing that everything you experience is a reality you are creating. Imagine finally understanding that with the right belief system, you never have to be sick. Imagine never having to worry or have fear about anything because you are in control of it all. What will you do when you find out this is all true and what you have been told to believe is false? It is time to learn the truth. Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Reality Changer Radio. It is Tuesday, October 22nd, and I am your host, Dave Dickey, and for the next 35 to 40 minutes, we're going to be discussing various aspects of the law of attraction, manifesting, and more specifically, problems that come up when it doesn't work at all. What I'd like to focus on tonight is something that's cropped up recently. I talk to clients all the time, and they come to me with various issues, and a lot of them lately, they have some experience with the law of attraction or understanding that it is their spirit that is creating the external. However, they are having issues falling down. And I always tell everybody, don't make yourself wrong when you slip, because that's just part of the path. We're all eager to be self-satisfied and be 100% successful at everything we do, but it's not always possible, especially with the old school programming that has gone on in our lives. It crops up when we least expect it to, and you see it daily. You know what I'm talking about. You have it in your life. Everything's going good, and then all of a sudden, bam, out of nowhere, you get blindsided. And it happens so suddenly that a lot of us are not exactly sure what to make of it. We get confused, and we get discouraged sometimes. A couple of people that I recently talked to, one person knew what to do as far as law of attraction techniques. They've been doing vision boards and visualizing and that kind of thing. And yet, in their job, had some really remarkable negative circumstances happen that gave them a major setback. They got demoted in their position with a promise that later on, if their performance improves and their attitude improves, then they can go back and make the money and have the position that they had before. Another person is very spiritual in that they meditate and they have all kinds of experiences because they've been meditating for a long, long time, and they know about the soul and they know about spirit, and they've been really, their story kind of mimicked mine as far as the amount of stuff that they have investigated and worked with over the years, as far as researching all kinds of stuff from the occult to remote viewing, prophetic dreaming, everything. And you would think that at some point this person or someone like this would get it and understand. And when they do understand why it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work that way all the time, apparently. I'm finding that out, that even people like myself, and thankfully I have my wife to help me and help point me back inside. People need help. People need coaches. People need guidance counselors. People need people to go to that understand And sometimes you just need somebody who, even though they fall down, sometimes you just need somebody else to grab you by the shirt and say, wait, stop. Don't do that. Do you understand what you're doing? Do you realize what you're doing? You can't have it all. You can't believe in part of it and not believe in all of it. Because the part of it that you say you believe in is even more powerful than the part that you're not doing. You know? It's kind of like, and I'll use the old recipe thing here. It's kind of like, you know how to make a cake, and it makes perfect sense to make those ingredients and use an oven and use spoons and use bowls and use all that other stuff. But then on the other hand, in the same breath, you want to sit there and you want to complain because you're frustrated about not knowing the very first step in how to make a muffin. You say you don't know what tools, you say you don't know this, you say you don't know that. Very sincerely. It's not like it's not like you get somebody who's lazy and says, well, I don't know how to do that, even though I know how to make cakes. And so what happens is another chef needs to grab that person and say, stop it. You know how to bake things. So when you bake things, you know that you need certain tools to mix up the recipe. You know you need to get bowls and spoons and mixers, and you know you're going to need an oven, and you know you're going to need trays, because how those things that you use to bake a cake are the same types of tools you use to bake anything that's like a muffin or a cake or any kind of thing like that. And then all of a sudden the cook just has this look of surprise on their face. And sometimes that's needed. And I'm finding that out more and more. Using myself as an example, and also a couple of people that I've recently talked to that came to me. You need to understand that once you get it, and once you think you get it, and I guess that's what's really crucial here. People, you have to understand that your conscious mind that will tell you, oh, I got this, don't worry about it, doesn't have anything. And it's never gonna. It doesn't have the power to have anything. Where you're going to have anything or you're going to get anything is with the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is just out there to, make you a victim, keep you in that victim mentality, and not let anything in that could prevent you from being a victim. And it's also the ego. And that's what you have to be really careful about with the conscious mind. You'll hear yourself going, well, I would never do this to myself, and I have it, and don't worry about it, and I understand, and all this. And really that's the ego talking. That's not the part of you where the real knowledge and power and existence comes from. It is an external verbalization of crap, in a sense. It's all crap. It's just as much crap as the old school programming. So please be aware that you have to be mindful that if you have had successes with, say, vision boards or visualizing or meditating or any of the various factors that are involved with the law of attraction, and at the same time have areas of your life that displease you, be sure to understand that in order to deal with those areas of your life, you don't need really anything extra other than maybe a couple of more techniques. But don't be swayed by your conscious mind. Don't be swayed by your ego. And don't be swayed by old school programming. There's an old saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Well, it's not just an observation of people. It's an actual fact when it comes to changing your reality. And I mentioned this before about various things, but it has to be repeated and it has to be said again. If you know that you can reach a certain frequency level in your meditation, and you understand that you are connected to Source and that you are of God and that you have the power, then you must maintain a knowledge level of what to do when life supposedly is not in your favor. You must keep a grip on the concept that just like you were able to achieve that frequency and just like you were able to achieve that visualization and whatever it was that you achieved, for that very same reason, you don't have to have an unpleasant life or an unpleasant experience because you are master of it all. Now you can choose not to master certain aspects of your life, and that's fine, and that doesn't make you wrong. But when you choose to master only part of your life, you're saying, well, I know I have total control, but I just want to control this part of my life. And I'm going to live by default on the rest of it. And it doesn't always work out in your best interest to do that. Then I ask you a question now. If you choose to do that, do you still have the right to complain about the part of your life that you chose to live by default? Do you still have the right to seek out people to complain to and to whine to and to cry to and to exasperate yourself over it? And the most important part of this, once you do this, complaining and whining, you're continuing the cycle of what displeases you. I need everyone to understand that. Every time that you complain and you whine and you bitch and moan, every time, you are giving energy and giving substance and giving power to the very thing that displeases you. Now, when I say to everybody that the same process works for everything, just in reverse on some things, I'm talking about this as well. When you give praise and speak joyfully and positively about something, you are giving it energy and giving it substance and giving it power. The difference here is how you speak about it and how you act about it. And that depends on how you feel about it. You know, Esther Hicks has come up with an emotional guidance system. And I'll be talking about that on one of my future shows. And I may actually start incorporating that into my Facebook page because I really think it's important. And on this is a wheel with the different emotions, and the emotions are kind of like barometers that let you know exactly where you are in your manifesting depending on how you feel. And make no mistake about it, your feeling about things will dictate your actions. And you need to go with your feelings. You need to understand your feelings first off. Because once you understand your feelings and that they are the most important, then you can take the appropriate step or steps to ensure that your feelings are, for the most part, satisfactory and happy. Because unless you're happy, none of it matters. And thinking you're happy is just going to get you in trouble. The thinking side of the brain, the conscious side, the logical side, there's many, many times I've told people I don't even know why it exists. Maybe it's a check and a balance. I don't know. But your feelings and the way you feel about things are really the most important aspect of your life and your existence. So make no mistake, you need to be aware of your feelings. And if you're not feeling good about a certain aspect of your life, that is a red flag that you need to take some action. Now, you don't have to take action. Again, like I said, you can choose not to control that part of your life that you have total control over. But do you really want to throw that away? Let's say, for instance, you can meditate and go to a higher frequency and get all these great vibrations and see things that other people can't because they can't do that. And that's awesome. But then on the other hand, your family's driving you nuts and work is driving you nuts and you don't know how you're going to cope because you're so overwhelmed. What? Seriously? You're overwhelmed? You can vibrate in your meditation at a rate where you can see things and hear things and experience things others can't, and yet you're overwhelmed by your family? Make no mistake about it. This is what's happening to so many people out there, and you may be one of them. Don't make yourself wrong. This old school programming is so nasty and so ingrained, it has us in a death grip around the throat. And really, until we see another 4 generations, I personally feel, until we see another 4 generations of children being brought up with new school programming and with the understanding that you don't have to point fingers when something goes wrong, you just have to go inside and change it. Until we see that, we're going to have exactly what's going on now. People reaching for the light and finding a dim part of it and then falling backwards into the blackness and wanting to know why. Why is it going wrong? It's going wrong because your faith isn't there. It's going wrong if there is a wrong, if it displeases you because you're not taking control over it when you can. Now, I'm not talking about the people that are just beginners and don't know anything about manifesting or the law of attraction or what we truly are. I'm talking about people tonight. I'm talking about people that have been involved with the law of attraction and manifesting and still feel that there's aspects of their life that old school programming will fix, such as pointing fingers. However, the people I've talked to recently, it didn't fix anything. In fact, what it did was it made them even more insecure, and which is what drove them to see me, to ask me what the hell's going on. And when I talk to these people and let them understand that it's all the same, you could see the emotions in their eyes. And you could see that all they really needed was to hear it from somebody as to why the rest of their life isn't working out like they want it to. They got a handle on this part, but then this part is turning them around in circles. And you know what happens, folks, and you may be one of them. These people start to question the validity of their own spiritual awareness, which they have already validated in practice. But because they slip and because they don't have coaches to help them along the way, and again, I went on this before, but You need somebody regularly in your life that you can call or that can hold you accountable for maintaining the changes in your life that you claim you wish to make. Because look at what happened when you didn't have anybody. How did that work for you? Didn't work very well, did it? So now that you're on this path, you can fall real easy without someone there to help you back up. So I say to all of you once again, if you're going down this path and if you're starting to get it and things are happening for you and you're manifesting and you understand that if you just do this, you'll have a better day, don't kid yourself into thinking that you've got a lock on this and that you're not going to need regular coaching and regular help. Because look at how many years it took you to get to where you are with the old school programming. And it doesn't happen overnight, folks. The change, the experiences, the positive aspects of your life don't happen overnight. Okay? So don't think that it doesn't work when it doesn't work. Understand that sometimes it's just not going to work, and that's a signal to you to go back inside. That ineffectiveness is a signal for you to go back inside and say, okay, what am I doing that's different? What am I not doing? Where am I blocking this? Okay, because it's always inside you. It's never on the external. It's not like there's somebody at work sabotaging your promotion, and that's why you haven't moved back into your position. It's not like somebody is out, it's not like your kids are out to get you, or there's no way to get over your sorrow about what you're doing with your kids. Look, there shouldn't be any sorrow. You start manifesting better days. You start visualizing and meditating on better days. Instead of concentrating and focusing on how horrible it was that you had to not be with your kids. Every time you do something like that, it gives that horrible feeling more power. Everything you worry about will be created because you're worrying about it. Because you're giving it focus, you're giving it intent, you're giving it energy. Just as much as it is when you do that deliberately to get a job or get a house or get a car or anything like that. There's no difference. The only difference is what it is. But what you do and the results of what you do are exactly the same for the positive stuff and the negative stuff. That's the key here. Everyone needs to maintain awareness that complaining about something is just as powerful as visualizing something. Because you're doing the same thing. You're putting this emotional energy out into the universe. And that's the main part of the law of attraction. So when you do this and you put this emotional energy out into the universe goes, okay, you want this. Okay? So I'll give you some more of that. And then some more of that happens, and you get even crankier, and you get even more frustrated, and you complain even louder. And guess what? You get even more. And the more and more, you get more and more and more. And it's the exact same thing when you're creating stuff that you want. Okay? I always tell people, try to make a list, column A and column B. Column A is the crappy things in your life. Column B, what does your life look without it? Like let's say for instance, one thing would be that your shoes don't fit and your feet hurt when you're standing on them, but you're at work and you have to wear these kind of shoes. Okay, fine. All right? So directly over on column B, what's the opposite of that? What are you going to focus on to make sure that doesn't happen? Okay? Manifesting a new pair of shoes, visualizing yourself comfortable. What? What is it that you're going to do? What does your life look like? Okay? So now you have that column A of the crap you don't want. Now you know what not to focus on. Okay? And it's very simple. Get emotional about column B. Column A, you could just write that down. Car sucks, my shoes don't fit, my wife bitches at me, the kids won't listen, whatever column A looks like. And then over on column B, you write the exact opposite. What does my awesome life look like? Because that doesn't exist. And then what you do is you forget about column A and you focus on column B. Because every one of those things that is the positive opposite of column A, that's what you want to focus on. That's what you want to put your emotions on and your feelings on and your intention on and your visualizing and your meditation and everything else and all the tools in your toolbox for changing your reality. That's what you want to do. Real simple. Make a list. Column A, column B. Another simple one is the happiness meditation. Don't get locked in again. Don't get locked in with, I don't have enough time. It's 15 minutes a day, twice a day. Get up a little early before your normal time. You know, you wake up at 6 o'clock, wake up at 5:45, and just sit there. And look, it doesn't have to be a specific happy thing. Make this easy for yourself. You watch a comedy that you really love, relive that comedy. Smile about it. Think about the comedian. Think about other things. Hell, I like Richard Pryor and George Carlin and stuff like that. So, you know, when I'm doing this, I change up. You know, and I'll sit there for 15 minutes and I'll think about a million different shows that I've seen where they've made me laugh. And I'll just be smiling, sitting there, getting happy in the moment. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Do that twice a day. Okay? That puts the energy out there. That positive energy. That positive, happy energy. Okay? So again, the main message for tonight is this. If you're on the path and you stray, don't think that there's some other answer or some other reason that things aren't working. Because all it really is that you haven't taken your work far enough. You haven't applied it to that. You've done A, but you haven't done B. And B is bothering you on the external. But it doesn't mean that all the stuff you did for A, you can't do for B. Quite the opposite. Everything you did for A, you do for B. Like I tell everybody, there's not a whole lot of things to do. It's just a matter of putting the things together differently for each aspect. But if you want to manifest a better day at work, it's really no different than manifesting a new car. It's really not. You know, the processes are you're going to visualize, you're going to meditate, you're going to do an emotional list, you're going to do a vision board, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same. Hence, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Don't get caught up. It's easy to get caught up, and don't make yourself wrong for doing it. Look, just pat yourself on the back, dust off your knees, get off the floor, and try it again. Okay? Because the path that you were originally on, and again, I'm talking about people that are already into the law of attraction and vision boards and manifesting and meditating and all that. You guys already know that stuff works. When you have another aspect of your life that's shit, don't think there's a different answer. And don't get caught up in it. It's just an indicator to go back inside because there's some block that you need to remove. There's some thing that you need to do. Okay? Don't get caught up in all that. All right? So that's my main message for tonight. Now, next week I got an exciting show for you. I hope you'll find it exciting. I'm going to do a Halloween special. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be reading you ghost stories. But not just any ghost stories. These have to do with spirits and ghosts, of course. They're spirits. But these are from my upcoming book, Ghosts, Ghouls, and UFOs. And it is somewhat of an autobiography. What I'm talking about here is that since I can remember, which is about 5 years old, 4 years old, maybe 3, my family and I especially have been surrounded by spirits of various activities. And what I mean by that is things like you mention somebody's name and you get a cold wind go by you, or you walk past your bathroom and nobody in the house smokes and you're smelling cigarette smoke, and when you say stop it, it stops. Or people calling your name when there's nobody in the house. Or you're laying in bed and you get slapped on your foot and you're the only one in the house. And a lot more. So what I'm going to be doing, a special Halloween treat, is I'm going to be reading some passages from my upcoming book, Ghosts, Ghouls, and UFOs. And I think you'll enjoy it. I certainly hope that you remember, and I'll mention it again when next week happens, these are real stories. These are from my heart. These are things that actually happened to me. I've heard a lot of stories, but what I'm writing about and what I want to talk about next week is experiences that I've personally had. And I think that you'll be quite surprised by some of the intensity of the experiences. And I think it'll make for a great Halloween show. This coming Saturday, I'm going to be at the Learning Light Foundation. That's Saturday, October 26th, from 2 to 5, doing an intense law of attraction workshop. And I'm going to be giving a bunch of techniques, telling everybody why it doesn't work when it doesn't, because I think that's really important. There's a whole lot of information about doing the stuff, but not a whole lot of information about what happens when it doesn't work. So I'm going to be focusing on that, and also everybody that shows up is going to be getting a special free gift from me, and I think everybody will love that gift. The RSVP phone number is on my website, whatyouthinkiswhatyouget.com, and it's under the classes section. Look for that. It's the Learning Light Foundation in Anaheim, in case you don't have access to the website for some reason, the Learning Light Foundation in Anaheim, and give them a call and RSVP them directly. And next week I'll be doing the Halloween show. All right. So this Saturday we're going to be down in Anaheim from 2 to 5 with the Law of Attraction workshop. And even if you've gotten into the Law of Attraction, again, as I mentioned tonight, there's times when you slip and fall and you don't know why. Be at this workshop, because I'm going to be doing a lot of focusing on what happens when it doesn't work and why doesn't it work. Okay? Because it doesn't always work. So be there 2 to 5, Anaheim, Learning Light Foundation. And until next time, I hope everybody has an awesome night. And for those of you that didn't catch this live broadcast, then you'll have to listen to the recorded version. All right, well, that's it for today's show, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and are a little closer to living life on your terms. Join me next week, won't you, for another mind-blowing show about the truth of reality. Until then, my reality is not your reality. What are you creating today?